Hello, I'm Andrew Worley, Associate Advisor at Worthwhile Wealth Counsel.
And I'm Sasha Stewart, fee-only certified financial planner at Worthwhile Wealth Counsel.
So Sasha, last week David and Lois had a video discussing asset classes, fund families, and correlation between them. So we thought we might take a little deeper dive into that, particularly into the different fund categories. So when we talk about these things, maybe sometimes we take for granted that our clients and understand every nuance there as far as the names of these categories, such as large cap, medium cap, small cap. So maybe we take this time to break that down a little more so they can understand what we're talking about if they don't already know.
Right. Most people understand the difference between large, medium, and small, but what does that cap mean that's in there? It stands for capitalization. So we're looking at the difference between market capitalization between these companies. So why don't you tell us how they calculate market capitalization?
Yeah, so market capitalization is an equation of the outstanding shares times their market value. That equals the market capitalization. When that's done and put into dollar terms, that would break a company into how much of the market share it has. So when we talk about large, medium, and small, how much does that market capitalization equate to in those categories?
Right. So you guys know that I'm a newly minted CFP, and this was a flashcard preparing for my exam, so it has seared in my brain for the moment. I'm sure it'll go away one day. So large companies have $10 billion in market capitalization. Small companies, $300 million to $2 billion. So even though they're small, it's not really that small. And mid companies is in between with $2 billion to $10 billion. Okay.
So once we have those categories, as you said, it's even small, it wouldn't be something like your neighborhood hardware store, a local owned mom and pop stop. 300 million sounds like a lot, but in the marketplace, that's what's categorized as small. So could you give me some examples of what a small cap company would be?
Oh yeah, store that I love. I'm sure most of our female viewers out there know of Bed Bath & Beyond.
Yep, know that one. I think my wife has shopped there quite a bit. As far as a large cap company, that would be, I think most people would recognize those names, probably could guess what they are. They're the ones who have the majority of the market share in things like electronics, would be Apple, Google, Amazon is another one that holds a lot of market share. So those would be categorized as large cap companies. And do you have an example for a mid-sized company?
Yeah, most people probably wouldn't imagine that a store that sells everything for $1 would have market capitalization of $2 to $10 billion, but Dollar Tree is a mid-sized company.
Okay, yeah, that is surprising. So when we talk about our clients, they know that we talk about useful information. So knowing these differences between large, mid, small, how can that become useful information to them? So when we look at how a portfolio is structured and you're well diversified over these different asset classes, you can take advantage. In previous videos, we've talked about the buy low, sell high mechanism you want to build into your portfolio. So having those different categories, that's how you can build that mechanism into place. So for an example, after COVID hit last year and the market felt like it fell off a cliff in March, we saw that when we reviewed our reports, we were noticing that large cap companies were the first ones to take advantage of the recovery, and so they took off like a rocket through the end of March, starting in April and on through the year. But by the time we got to September, small companies were able to surpass what large companies had done, and going into this year, 2021, they've outshined the rest of the market. So why is that?
Right. Well, if you are a large company, you've got $10 billion of market capitalization. That provides with a little extra cash flow where you can make quick turns when something like COVID hits. So those companies, just by sheer size, should have had the capability and proved to have the capability to turn things around quickly, whereas the small cap companies took a little bit longer, but we're seeing the upswing of that now. And with
the restrictions lifting in a lot of states, that fall area, states started pulling back on some of the restrictions. That's not surprising to see more and more the economy opening back up. And like you said, small companies are now in position to take advantage of some of that. So so far this year, small has outshined, but now we've covered that. as far as the different capitalizations. Let's switch gears over to our weekly market performance report, and let's briefly discuss what we saw there.
Not much. Last week, it stunk. Everything was down, except for a couple bonds, and as usual, bonds aren't really worth mentioning.
No, I agree. Barely anything to even notice when we reviewed the report. So, well, that's it for this week. As always, I'm Picky.
And I'm Peppy.
And together we're the Peppy Pedants of Worthwhile Wealth Counsel. See you next time.